Yo, we are back. Welcome to the 20 Podcast, bringing you interviews with the best DJs, producers, and music industry professionals from around the globe. I'm your host, DJ Spider.
DJ Spider!
Oh yeah, this podcast is brought to you by Beatsource. Beatsource is the new digital music service for open format DJs. We are continuing to innovate and change the game for open format DJs, giving you the ability to DJ off of the cloud using Beatsource Link, and so much more with our curated playlist by our amazing music directors for each genre. It's unbelievable. So log on to there. If you want a 60-day free trial, let me know, because I can give you that code. It's the 20, THE20. Type that in, you get 60 days free. Let me know what you think. Beatsource.com. And thank you guys, the Beatsourcers, for listening and supporting and all that stuff. Make sure you rate and review us on the Apple Podcast app so we can keep growing up the charts and doing this show week after week. I really appreciate it. And hit me online on Instagram at DJ Spider, DJ SPIDER. Let me know what you think about the show, some guests you want on there. You got questions, you want any of that, hit me up. All right, on to our guest. I told you we are worldwide, and we are worldwide. We're living up to that today. On today's show, we've got one of the most versatile and innovative DJs in the scene today. He has competed in and won so many battles, I don't think I can list them all, and his routines are some of the most technical and forward-thinking I've ever seen. He's Poland's national champion in the Red Bull Freestyle competition 2 years in a row. He recently has won online contests that were put on by Phase DJ, by Beatsource, by many others. I just caught him a couple weeks ago as one of the top 3 competitors in A-Track's Goldie Awards. So even to make it to that level is unbelievable. And plus, he's done so many other things that you hear about on this show. He also continues to share his knowledge online through his YouTube channel, his partnership with Superhero DJ School, where you can learn his routines, and so much more. He's performed in many places all around the world, including Chile, Taiwan, of course, Poland, all around Europe, everywhere, all over the place. But we found out on this episode he has still not been to the United States. So if any promoters from America are out there listening, book this guy. He is dope. His scratching, his finger drumming, his all-around boundary pushing is next level, and we get to learn about it in this episode. So prepare to nerd out and rewind his explanations of how he does this stuff, because it's really mind-blowing. So please, all the way from Poland, welcome to the show, 69Beats. We are here. It is the 20 Podcast, and we've got, all the way from Poland, 69Beats. What's happening? Let's go. Crowd's going crazy for you. What's up? How are you, man?
Fine. All good, thank you. How are you?
Good. I am doing well. Thank you so much. So excited to talk to you. I was watching a bunch of your videos. Yeah, I was watching a bunch of your videos before this. I saw you on the Goldie Awards, less than a week ago. You were on there.
Yeah.
Doing some absolutely mind-blowing things that I don't even know how to describe it. I was going to say DJing, but it's like beyond DJing. I mean, it was unreal. I think I saw Scratch Bastard say something like, "That has never been done before," and then you utilized that in your secondary set, right? Which was like very creative.
Thank you. Great to hear that. Yeah, that was the plan. That was the plan, to make something mind-blowing and something new that's never been done. That was my plan.
Yeah, it was it was great, So and like I said, I'm in Los Angeles. You are calling in from Poland, right? What city are you in?
Sopot, the city of Sopot.
Sopot.
Yeah.
Okay.
Are you did you spend your whole life in Los Angeles, or were you born somewhere else?
No, I was born here. And grew up here.
Okay, so because why I'm asking is that First of all, I wanted to thank you for inviting me in, and I wanted to say and to compliment you that you have a really great voice. Because I was listening to some of the podcasts, and like for me, from someone who's not from US, from not English speaking country, like
right.
It can be it might be the hardest thing to the hardest people to listen to if they come like natively from English speaking countries. It might be really hard to understand them, but the way you are speaking is like very, very understandable.
Right.
Is that a good word?
Yeah, that is great. You're speaking perfect English, so yes.
You are really easy to understand for a person like me who does not come from any English speaking country.
Right. Oh, that's actually great to hear. Thank you. And I've heard that from a few other people that we've done interviews in different languages, or when people have listened from their countries and they've said similar things. So yeah, thank you. I try to keep it, simple. And plus you come from a DJ world, so I'm talking about a lot of things that you understand already. But that's great. Thanks, man. I really appreciate it. Yeah, you were saying you heard the Jazzy Jeff podcast, and
is there?
It's crazy that we put that one out like 11 months ago. I can't believe we've been doing this every week during the pandemic and before. So it's been amazing to be able to talk to so many DJs from all over the place, and to watch you do this amazing set in Poland, and then I get to talk to you a few days later and hear about it. It's just great. That's the beauty of being connected on the internet and not having to wait till you come to Los Angeles. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So that's so cool. And so it must be, what time is it there? It's like it's 1 o'clock here in LA PM. So what is it like?
Right now it's like 2 hours before midnight.
Oh, okay. So you drinking vodka or hanging out or doing something?
Can I?
Yeah,
I do drink, but I won't tell you what.
What is that? I have pure vodka right here. No, it's just water.
Just water.
Oh, come on.
Don't mind the weird color of that water.
Yeah, that's some weird color water. Okay, well, we're having some beers. I'm pretend to have a beer with you. Here we go. Cheers.
Cheers, man.
Yes, cheers. We're connected. So nice. Wait, how do you say it? Dostrovie?
Na zdrowie.
Na zdrowie.
Which means for healthiness, something like that. For healthiness.
Okay. Na zdrowie, for healthiness. Cheers.
Yes, sir.
Amazing. Well, I'm so happy to have you on here, and like we said, you were just in the Goldie Awards. The set you did was just nuts. Like, how long does it take for you to prepare? How long does it take for you to prepare for the first set? And then it was cool to watch your second set evolve from sets from your first set and taking real life things that the judges said and everything, and then incorporating it.
It's complicated to answer because the whole idea for my first set was very, very kind of similar to what I did on my last Red Bull 3 Style submission. For the Red Bull 3 Style 10th edition, that didn't take place because of the pandemic. So my plan for the submission for 3 Style then was like making a really, as Scratch Bastard said that, so that's your word. That's your word, Paul.
Yes.
The cinematic intro where I do as much stuff like skillful stuff at the very beginning, as much skill to show as much skill as possible in like the shortest period of time possible. So I did like a bunch of like scratching and juggling with cue points and finger drumming and melody playing within like 30 seconds. And then to set up some vibe, play some tunes, some word plays, some tone plays and stuff like that. And then do some like new-ish stuff for the ending. So for freestyle, I did like a double-decked tone play where I used both sides, where I played the beat on the sampler, and then I used both decks for making a tone play. And then I did some crazy like pad Q point beat juggling or with Cardi B's I Like It remix.
Right.
So I had the same idea, like the whole plan for the whole 5 minutes was the same for the Goldie Awards. And so I had the plan in my head, but I just had to, you know, reshape the whole thing to not do the same stuff I did for freestyle. So I did the intro with that cinematic intro. I did that journey around the world. That was also an idea for freestyle. I wanted to make it like 15-minute set for the World Finals if I ever if I made it to Moscow, because that year we didn't have the finals in Poland, so I was going to fight for the wild cards. Right. So the idea of the journey around the world in a set was a really old idea of mine. I had like on the to-do list like for a very long time, but it was really I would be really more comfortable to do it in 15 minutes for freestyle than to fit it into Goldie Awards, because, you know, like to make people go around the world in 5 minutes is really that was really tough. Like
I know.
When we had the deadline for sending the Goldie Awards videos, I still had like 7.5 minutes instead of 5 minutes.
5 minutes is so hard.
Yeah, and it was, I had to cut 2.5 minutes in like just a few hours because we had the deadline. The live stream was on Sunday, and we had deadline until Wednesday.
Oh my god!
So when we had Wednesday already it was Wednesday evening in Poland. I still had like 7.5 minutes instead of 5 minutes, and I was just cutting down. And I just made a list of ideas that should go away first. I had Peaches from Justin Bieber into California Love, because I'm doing it a lot in clubs and people love that transition. And I posted it on Instagram as well, and I had some great reactions. So I wanted to do it in Goldie Awards, but it took so much time that it was on the top of my list to go away, because like California Love is a pretty played out track, right? Yeah, we all love it, right? Right, it's true. Classic. We all love it. Yeah. We can listen to it every single party, but I'm really sensitive about reusing the same tracks in battles. I always try to do as much original stuff during a battle as possible. So California Love was the first to go away. Then I wanted to do the transition from West Side to Japan. I wanted to do with Iggy Azalea's Fancy, because we all know the words, like going from LA to Tokyo. But that was also like played out so much. Like,
it's tough.
I think when Freestyle went to Tokyo World Finals in 2015, like everybody was doing that transition from Fancy to some like Tokyo Drift or any other Japan songs. Like everybody was doing that hook from Fancy. So yeah, that was the second one to go away, and then I started cutting some more and some more. So I really thought that it's gonna be like too clustered. The tracks would go too fast, one after another, but fortunately it came out like pretty good. And then I had to fit that reverse tenet routine at the end. So my first attempt was like, oh, I finally have like 4 minutes 55 seconds. Like, I think, is that it? And then I was like, wait, but I still have to reverse to make the time to reverse that routine at the end. So it was another like 40 seconds. Right. And I was like, oh my God, should I literally use the full 5 minutes and then ask them to play the video backwards. But I thought that would be impossible, because you know, I could tell them, yeah, I fit into 5 minutes, but it's your job to play the video backwards. Like, I'm still within the 5 minutes. So
they're like,
it
doesn't work like that. No.
yeah. So no, I said to myself, no, there's no way they will play the video backwards on the live stream. So yeah, I had to cut another 40 seconds, and like, I felt like a little baby, like I was jumping and screaming in the studio when I finally managed to like fit in the 5 minutes.
That's great. That's so cool.
And then I put the video footage on my computer, and the first thing I did was reversing that last part, and I was like, oh my God, it worked. And I was literally like sitting here in the middle of the night, and I was just watching it one time after another, like 100 times. I couldn't believe that worked out. I really didn't believe that.
It's almost like you have to watch the routine. I actually need to go back and watch it again now, because I didn't even totally understand everything you were doing. And now I get it. So you did it and put the video backwards. Like, that's just crazy. So
wow. The basic idea of that was to make something that didn't make any sense, and then reveal it at the end of how that did make sense.
Yeah.
So like, because one of the inspirations for that routine were people from. I saw that in many talent shows. Maybe you saw that as well. When they come with like a big blank material, and they like just start to play music, started to dancing and paint something on that material.
Right.
And it completely doesn't make any sense until they like flip it upside down at the very end, and it appears that they painted some famous face or something like that.
Yes.
So that was one of the inspirations for that routine. I wanted to do something that completely didn't make any sense, and then to reveal at the end of how that did make sense. So that was one of the ideas, inspirations.
That's so cool. That really, I mean, it's cool to show the connection of actual like visual art and DJing, and show how they're both artistic in a way. And like you can be inspired by a visual artist. I've seen that artist that draws his kids and different people upside down and then puts it back, and you're like, oh my God, how'd you do that? And it's cool to see how you translated it to audio, you know, from visual into audio. The
inspiration can come from any place.
Yeah, I love that. And also it's cool. Everybody looks at what you do and they're amazed by, you know, everything you put into it. But a big part of it, like you just described, is taking things out of it. Like sometimes we put so much in. I've done that too, where I have a 2-hour set and then I practice and do it, and it's like 3 hours. And I'm like, oh no, I need to cut just into the best parts. You know, if I'm going to do this club, I want it just to be the whole time like going, you know, strong. So the editing is such a big part of all of this, like getting all your ideas, then being able to edit them down into what you think will be the strongest thing. Yeah.
And then the editing itself, like that was the other inspiration, because when I got invited into Goldie Awards, I was kind of sad. And of course I was happy, but I was kind of sad at the same time, because you know, I've never been to the United States, and I wanted to go to New York. Right. So I told that to A-Track, and like because I wanted to go to New York so badly. I was trying to go. I was trying to get in Goldie Awards like from the very first edition. But it's, you know, it's. I was super happy, because it's one thing to submit your video and then like be better than everyone else and get into the battle because of your submission, and it's a completely other thing when you don't have to submit, but you get like such an exclusive invitation.
Right.
That felt like super unreal, to be like, you know, to be noticed and invited into a battle. That felt amazing.
Yeah, and it's like, worldwide too. I mean, that's huge.
Yeah, but I went off topic a little bit. So I was sad that I won't go to New York, but on the other end, I could utilize that online format, right? So
yeah.
So the other inspiration was, of course, Lazy Boy, which like took that online battling into another dimension. So I wanted to also do something that utilizes that online format, and of course, like when Lazy Boy showed us that something like this kind of editing and this kind of things are allowed, because nobody said it's not allowed, but
yeah,
everyone was just used to, like, you know, it's a DJ battle, you have to do one constant set with one video angle, like, you know, no cutting, no editing, no nothing. But if you think about it, it's never been said in Goldie Awards. Like nobody ever said that it's required. Like on DMC, it's within the rules and regulations. Like
right.
It also.
But I think someone like A-Track likes forward thinking and technology and using things maybe not exactly how they were envisioned to be used.
Yeah. So
it was cool to see that.
Yeah, other battles make that pretty clear that such things are not allowed. But nobody said that in Goldie Awards. Yeah. There were no rules about it. Like the only thing that we got to know is you have to send us the recording that is maximum 5 minutes and with like 1080p video quality in horizontal. And that's it. Like no rules, no nothing. Like just record a 5-minute video. So I wanted to utilize that online format as well. But I didn't want to copy what Lazy Boy did. Yeah. So it got me thinking, how can I use that editing possibility and stuff like that. So yeah, everything came up. It was great.
I saw like how you
routine.
Yeah, the reverse routine, and then bringing the judges in, and then also just the around the world thing. It's I know it's hard even as to keep up with what you're doing. So when you were going around the world, but then you listed it up on the left side.
Yeah, that was another advantage of making the video. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a nice way to follow along. Go, oh, that's what he's doing. Oh, that's from there. Okay, I see.
Yeah, exactly. Because that was other lesson that I took out of Tree Style, because like when I won my second title and then I went on to the World Finals in Krakow. At first, I made a set, like really deep set with all like the hidden little things like Easter eggs and something like that. And then when I got the recording, I added all the subtitles to it, and like to just like blow people's minds again after publishing it with all the subtitles. But that was something that people could know only by watching the video and reading the subtitles. And then I went on to the World Finals in Krakow, and then I made it even deeper. And that was my biggest failure because I didn't took that live part into account, and I made the whole story of a child being born, being the good life, then turning into a bad guy, then it's not good or bad, it's an alien and stuff like that, and it was the whole story. And when I put it again with subtitles, like everybody could understand it, but in a live setting. On my elimination night, like nobody, literally nobody understood that story. And after my elimination night, I even approached the judges, like one by one, and like nobody would tell me. I think Jazzy Jeff told me that he kind of picked up on a story, but Scratch Bastards said that it went over people's head. Like Newmark didn't get it. Like Craze did like the biggest WTF face I've ever saw. Like I was like, did you hear the story in my set of like the child being born, the good life, the bad life, and stuff like that? And Craze was like, what story? Like he gave me the biggest WTF face I've ever saw. Like. Yeah, so like what story? Like he got the wordplays about like the good life, the bad and stuff like that. He got the wordplays, but not the whole story. So that was my biggest failure, because I made it so deep. Like Some of my friends were watching it, and some of my friends were watching it at home. I remember one of my friends said that he was watching it with his wife, and she was like, why would you do anything that need explanation on the screen? Like, you're a DJ, you should play the music, you should do stuff that people understand, and why make anything that needs an explanation? I
guess. Yeah, I understand. I mean, look, you're very ambitious. You're very forward thinking, and you really, really, really tried to push the boundaries, which I think is respectable and cool. And that doesn't always work out. What can you do? And you can use it as some. I think it's good that you can reflect upon it and notice the things that did work and the things that didn't work, so you can adjust and adjust it for your next battles.
So it all.
It's hard as a DJ. Yeah.
It all came down to that Goldie Awards set when I could literally put the subtitles onto the screen, people could catch up on the story like right there.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, because when you're making it at home, you practice so long that to you something within 2 seconds makes sense, but somebody else that's watching it, it's like happening so fast that they are like, what if they miss one thing? They don't even understand. Even DJs that are paying attention, they're trying to hear the beat and the music and the on beat and the scratching and so many things at once that it's almost like their brain can't take it all in at once.
Yeah, that's a huge problem with battles. Because the DJ that makes a set understands every single thing and know when he makes mistakes or not, and most of the time, like, people don't even hear those mistakes and stuff like that. But it's not only the mistakes; it's also like the little details, like technical details. Like, you try to make your set as technically advanced as you want, and you do all this, like, 3-click flares and some complicated scratches and some super hard juggling patterns. And you are the person, the DJ battling is the person that understands that the best. Then you have the judges that they will understand more than the public does.
Yeah.
But they won't get all the details. They never get all the details that the DJ who is playing made the set understands all the details. Like, so you have the first filter is between the DJ battling and the judges. And then even bigger filter is between the DJ and the publicity. So you have to take all those things into account.
It's true. I mean, if you think about any music you listen to, you don't hear everything right away. Even when you listen to your favorite artist album, or when you watch a movie or a TV show, or you hear a story or a stand-up comedian, I feel like once you then hear it the second time, you notice all these extra things. So especially with a fast-moving DJ set, it's hard. So that's a good lesson to know, that to be ambitious and forward-thinking, but also make sure it's simple enough for people to understand. It's even like making music. You notice a lot of music producers. They could do a million sounds and add in an orchestra and do so much. But sometimes, like on, let's say a Drake song or anything, it's very simple. It's just one sound and a beat, and they leave room for the artist to sing or rap because even though they could do, it might be too much, and then people wouldn't like it. So I guess there's that fine line of being innovative and different, but also it goes back to the editing of yourself, I guess.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, so you also work with superhero DJs, and you teach people your routines through this website and this platform, right? Can you give us some more details on that?
What details?
Well, I guess what is it? Like, I don't even know that much about it, and I'm a DJ. I just see I see advertisements for it, and I see a bunch of people I know like up there and doing a thing, and then I'm like, I've never gone on, so I don't know.
So
like,
from the bottom.
Who is it for, and what do you teach on there, and how does it work?
It works like this. You make an account.
Okay.
You choose your plan for a subscription, and you get an access to right now a really large number of different routines of a different level. It was the first idea for the Superhero DJs, because I'm with them from the very beginning. I was invited to work with them before it all started. So the first idea for the platform was to make a platform with advanced routines. So DJs could learn, like, not to teach just the basics, but to help people make that leap from being from doing basic stuff to doing like battle level stuff, to stuff like people do in DMCs or Red Bull 3 style or in Goldies. So the idea was to put together a bunch of DJs that actively battle, and to share some of the routines from the battles, so people could get the idea of how the routines are constructed. So they could take the ideas of constructing the more advanced routines and do it by themselves on some other music, on some stuff they do on their own. So that was the first idea, to teach people advanced routines. But it started to to get wider and wider, and we started to make really easier routines too, as well. And I don't know if I can really tell that or not. But we are working on some courses right now. That will be a really wide range of that will cover a really wide range of skill, like from the very basics to some more advanced stuff. So right now we are aiming to cover all kinds of skill levels. So the first idea was to do just the advanced type of routines, but right now it's gonna get wider and to cover more levels. And but the main idea is that you get the material to work with. You get to download all the songs and all the sounds, to load into decks, into sampler, and stuff like that. You get all the MP3s for your software,
and then you can practice
along
yourself.
with it, you get the video with the routine done by the teacher, and then you get another video with the tutorial, with step-by-step tutorial of how to make that routine. So that's the
cool.
idea.
And as a DJ like you, do they if you get more subscribers on your page, do you like get paid more, or like how does it work? Or are you just part of like a standard thing, like anybody can pick anybody to learn from, or do people
you just pay for a subscription and you can access everything.
Oh, cool.
You can access everything that's there. So there's no like the routines from world champions are more expensive than others. No, it's you
cool.
you get the access to all the library of all the lessons. And
that's
routines.
great. So if people want to learn or know the details of how you're doing your stuff, they can go on Superhero DJs and sign up and download the files and practice over and over. I think they would have to practice like 22 years to be able to do what you do, but it's like
no, I don't think so. with that kind of tutorials that we make for Superhero DJs, it's like I think people can learn like, I don't know, like 10, 20 times faster than normal. Yeah. Because when I tried to, because the idea is like learning by doing, right? So you do the same routine as the teacher, and you learn some ideas that stand behind constructing such a routine, right? So then you can move all the ideas to construct your own routines with your own music and stuff like that. So it's way faster to do that when you have all things available, the MP3s, the tutorial and stuff like that, than to deconstruct someone's routine by your own. Because that takes a lot of time. Like I did that with Crazy's New Slaves routine.
Oh wow.
And it was like it it was massively like, it was a leap for me. Like when I got all the details to replay that routine, it like opened up like the whole new like kind of thinking in my head, like how to use the like the slip mode, how to incorporate like playing the samples from the sampler while beat juggling and stuff like that. So it took me a lot of time to deconstruct that. It's like, I know I was like those people on YouTube that title their videos like, I watched Spider-Man on 0.25 speed and this is what I find out. Like, you know, there are tons of videos like that. So I was watching that routine like on that 0.25 speed, like frame by frame, to see what he touches when he plays the samples, when he plays the cue points and stuff like that, where this snare comes from, where that kick comes from, and to deconstruct such a complicated routine, it takes a lot of time.
Yeah,
like
I know,
really, it takes a lot of time. And then on Superhero DJs, you don't have to deconstruct anything, because you have the teacher explaining to you step by step on how to do what and when. So it's like, and you get it like within like 15 to 20 minute video tutorial. So, and you know everything about the routine. Wow. And to deconstruct the new slaves routine, it took me I don't know, like 2 weeks or a month. Like,
yeah, I'm sure.
I don't remember exactly, but as I said, like when you have a tutorial in front of you, you learn way faster. So
yeah, I'm sure. Well, speaking of learning, how did you first learn to DJ? How did you get your start, and who were some of your inspirations?
That's a bit of a funny story, because up until like 2006, I didn't really know that you can touch the vinyl on the turntable.
That's amazing.
Yeah, because I come from a small-ish town. Like right now I'm living in a much bigger one because I moved for university. But I was born in like 45,000 people city.
Okay. What city is that? What's it called?
It's called Starogard Gdański.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So
I have to watch that. I have to watch that on 0.25 speed to be able to say
it's like Starogard. It's like a combination of two words which mean old town.
Okay.
And Gdański means it lays a bunch of kilometers from Gdańsk, because Gdańsk is right here, right next to my city I live right now. We call it the Tri-City because these are like three different cities connected into one. Okay. So Gdańsk is the biggest city in northern Poland, and my hometown is like 60 kilometers to the south. So yeah, it's like old town from below Gdańsk.
That's crazy. Got it.
Yeah. So when you were born in the 80s in such a small town in Poland, like there wasn't really like gigs and parties and nothing like that. Right. Of course, like people had parties, but mostly with live bands and stuff like that. There were no DJs in my town. Yeah. There was no like clubs where DJs would play records and stuff like that. So for most of my childhood, I didn't even know that something like a DJ exists. So
that's crazy.
Yeah. So when I don't know what to compare, like when Craze was winning his third DMC title, I was in my basic school, like my primary school.
Yeah, right.
And I was just starting my musical school on piano, because we had piano at home, and my mom and my older brother were playing piano, and my father is playing guitar. We had pretty much music in our home, and we also had a turntable and a bunch of records. But I was always taught that if you put a record on turntable, you have to
Yeah,
carry it like that. You have to put it, you have to hold it on sides. You have to put it on the turntable, just like, be careful with the needle, and you just play and don't touch it.
Yeah.
So
and look at you now. Look at from that to now you touch everything.
Yeah. So for up until I started to go on parties, I didn't pay attention to DJs at all. Like I had some. We had our first cable TV where I had MTV and some other musical stations. Like maybe in like 2000 or 2001.
Oh, okay.
That was like the first years when we had like cable TV with all that, the stations from TV stations from around the world.
Right.
So of course I was watching MTV like crazy and some other music stations, and I was recording some music by placing the recorder next to the speaker in my TV, and I was making some tape cassettes for my own to listen to. And then but I still I was still you still thinking that you cannot touch the record on a turntable. That's
crazy. That time. So how did you get to that point? Who was the first person you saw?
Like the first gigs I started to go to was obviously the 18th birthdays in my high school.
Right.
When my older colleagues started to have 18th birthday parties and stuff like that, and then my year started to have 18th birthday. So I was born in 88, so 20 to 2005 and 2006 was the first 2 years I started to go into clubs for gigs, and we had like 3 clubs in my hometown. And they were mostly playing like house music and like really like fast electronic music, like I don't know, like 120 BPM plus. Like there was no like hip hop clubs and stuff like that. Right. So and then I went to my friend's house party, and it happened that her older brother was a DJ in one of those clubs. And we went to his room in their house, and I was like, and I saw all the gear that I think it was the infamous Behringer 700 mixer, and 2 Pioneer 800 players, and I was like, wow, I have to learn that. Like I wasn't thinking about like anything. Like I didn't know what music I would play. I didn't think about battling, about playing in clubs, about doing it for a living, anything like that. I was just like, wow, that looks cool. I want to learn how to do it. Yeah. And so then I started visiting them a bunch of times, and my friends started to teach me how to do it. We had a couple of like back-to-back sessions and stuff like that at her home. So and then I had my own 18th birthday in September 2006, and I got my whole family to gather together to buy me my first gear, and and that older brother of my friend went with me to the bigger city right here when I live here now. It was the only like electronic DJ shop with DJ gear right here in our region. Right. And so I bought the mixer from him because he got Pioneer 600 for himself, and he sold me that Behringer mixer, and I got myself a pair of those little Denon 1000 players that had the platter of a size of a CD. Right. So I was basically going into that old flame war between Pioneer CDJ 100 and Denon DNS 1000 for a first player. So I was searching some internet forums, and they were like full of discussions like that, like what should be my first gear, and every single topic was Denon 1000 versus Pioneer 100. And and most people would choose Pioneer, because Pioneer of course was already an established brand,
Yeah.
But I was kind of like excited about all the features that Denon had, and it had cue points, and like it was like 2 cue points or 3 cue points, and scratch.
Right.
And Pioneer CDJ 100 didn't have scratch, so
yeah, totally.
That was a very fortunate choice for me, because I started learning to DJ with house music.
Okay.
Because all the DJs in my town were playing on those clubs where we went to birthday parties. They were all playing mostly house music. So I started to learn mixing with house music, but I got bored with it pretty fast. Like I learned how to beat match within like 2 weeks, and then I was just beat matching house songs, and I had no idea how to take it to some other level that would make me more excited about it, because I couldn't find any DJ competitions, any DJ battles that DJ would play house music.
Right.
Like back then, like 15 years ago, I cannot recall a single battle where DJs would play like, you know, house music and stuff like that. So so I found some footage of people battling with hip hop, of course, right?
Yeah.
It was not the DMC. It was not DMC or ITF or anything like that. So it was like it was still like 2006, 2007, and I had no idea who Jazzy Jeff was or who Craze was or anything like that. I had no idea about that the DMCs existed and stuff like that. What I found was DJ Second Nature. I don't know if you know.
Yeah, I know him pretty well, actually. Yeah.
Okay, so that was actually the first battle video I can recall watching when he was.
And video too. He does a lot of video.
He was mixing. Yeah, he was mixing songs and the videos at the same time, and it was like the footage was from like 2003 and 2004.
Yeah.
And they were already speaking about him like that he was winning those battles for like last 10 years. Since the 90s. So that was I was when I started to get interested in DMCs and freestyle and stuff like that, I was really surprised that that the kind of battles that Second Nature did weren't that popular as the DMC was. Because that seemed like a very like niche battle that I like right now when you try to search for it, you won't find it. I had to look on my own. I had to look on my really, really old backups from my oldest computers to find those Second Nature videos when I was trying that for the last time. That was a couple of months ago. So I was trying to find that in the internet for the first time, and I couldn't. I just couldn't. So I just found that on my old hard drives. So so that was my first encounter with battle DJing with hip hop. So I was like, oh right, that's something I want to do. That's the kind of DJing I want to do. So, and then I by coincidence I had one of my friends ask me to play her 18th birthday. But she didn't want the house music. She wanted hip hop. So I was like, okay, I have to make a playlist of hip hop songs. I have a list right here on my shelf. Like my wife put it into a frame because I have my very first list of hip hop songs, like by the BPM, with all the BPMs, like from the lowest to the highest, that I made for that party. And yeah, it was like 2000 and it was the end of 2006, I think. So that was the first. That was when I played my first hip hop set.
Wow, that's crazy.
So yeah, and I got really excited about what you can do with all the hip hop R&B songs and stuff like that. So that was the time when I started to get some interest in that battle-ish style of DJing with hip hop.
Yeah, that's incredible. It's so crazy that you were in 2006. That's where you were, and now you're at this point. You know, basically you're in almost every battle I see at this point, from the Red Bull to the DMCs to the Goldies and all that, plus the superhero DJs and your own YouTube and your own Instagram. You're constantly putting out videos, and the phase DJ games, the melodics. I mean, you truly put in work, and I think that it comes from a place of pure, genuine love for it and inspiration for it. I mean, it sounds like just that day where you saw the older brother's equipment and your mind for some reason said, I need to learn this. It was just like the cosmically, the universe just putting it into you, you know, like,
exactly.
Because it's weird. It's not like you grew up around it or even were watching videos. So that's such an interesting story. And it's so, that's what I try to tell everyone when they say, oh, do you have any advice or what did you do? I'm like, everybody has their own path, you know, and you have such a unique path to get where you have been, you know, it's so amazing. And also your love for tech. I mean, like, where does that come from? You obviously have a love for pushing buttons and new technology and trying to understand things down to the very detail and even push it. Where does that come from?
That's a really hard question, to be honest. Like, nobody ever asked me that. So I think it's a combination of a lot of things, because as I said, like, the first choice of the players that I did, I got excited about those little technical details from the Denon player over the Pioneer player, because Pioneer didn't have scratch and cue points, and it got me and it got me into this kind of thinking, like, this player has more features, so I can do more. So and then when I have it, then why don't use it? Then you have to find the ways to use it, right? So so that was my very first choice. And then when I switched over to turntables, which is another funny story, because I didn't own the turntables until 2010.
That's crazy too. That's wow. Amazing.
The only thing, my older friend, like, I moved to the bigger city for college in 2008. Okay. And I barely started to get into clubbing here, and the clubbing here was way more advanced. Like, that was the part I forgot to say before. Like, when you come from a small town in my country, like, you can live like me and not encounter, like, turntable DJing up until like 2006, right? But people that were living in bigger cities, they all knew that, right? We have rappers that started making hip hop albums in early 90s. Like, I think the first hip hop album from Poland is from like 93, 92 or 93, if I'm not mistaken. And DJs obviously, the hip hop DJs, turntablists started their careers in 90s as well. But they were mostly from those bigger cities that they have better access to, you know, to the vinyls, to the gear and stuff like that. And when you were living in a small town like I did, like, just as I said, I didn't know any, like, battle DJing up until 2006. So so I was still living in my city. I was learning on the CDJs. Then I moved to a bigger city for college. I started to meet DJs that were using turntables and DVS systems up already. So in the club where I first started playing in the bigger city, they were already using that very first Stanton DVS. Stanton Scratch, right? And then Serato came in, and we had our currency were on its all-time best place compared to US dollar in 2010. So like, the US dollar was super, super cheap, and we were making like huge we were like buying a lot of stuff from US. So that was the point where I bought my Serato box. I ordered it from, I don't know, I can't recall what shop it was, but I ordered my Serato box, the SL1 box from United States. So I was waiting for it for like 3 months or something like that. Wow. And so I bought my Serato that was like 2009, I think. Okay. So I had only my laptop and my Serato box, so I could go to clubs and play gigs with my friends on the turntables that were in clubs.
Yeah.
And then one of my friends just borrowed me one turntable so I can learn how to scratch better at home. And then I was playing some gigs. I was doing some side jobs to make my own money. And then I bought my first set of turntables in 2010. So I didn't own my own turntables up until 2010.
That's incredible.
And when I had I was using it with Serato, and when I was using Serato in clubs, I was using also a lot of stuff on the laptop's keyboard, like loops and using laptop's keyboard for cue points and stuff like that. Because back then you didn't have any like many MIDI controllers that you could you had like plug and play like the DJ SP1. I think it's the most popular for Serato. Yeah, or the dicers. You didn't have it back then. So I was using my laptop, and I had a couple of DJ friends that were older and more experienced than me, and they were basically like teaching me how to play in clubs. You know, the music selection, reacting to the crowd and stuff like that. They were teaching me that, and I was basically teaching them how to use something more than just playing stop buttons on the turntables, because I was doing some I was already doing some wordplay transitions. Like I didn't even take it from any battles. Like I was just thinking about it on my own. Like I have like this phrase over here and this phrase and the same phrase in the other track. Like why don't I loop that on the one track and then use the cue point on another track to to mix that phrase to make a wordplay. And those older friends of mine were like, hey, how did you do that? What did you do? How did you do that? And I was like, just make the loop right here and then use the cue point right here. And what's the cue point? What's the hot cue? And like, So I was kind of like, all the things you had within the software, like nobody was using it because you didn't have the technology to use it, right? You didn't have the MIDI controllers and stuff like that. So when I bought my first set of turntables, I was really, really tired of using the keyboard on laptop for all the functions and stuff like that.
Of course.
So I started looking for some MIDI controllers that could do it. So I found that horizontal Denon MIDI controller for Serato.
Okay.
I really don't remember how was it called, but it was really popular. It was really small, but it has like all the functions you need. It had loops, loop rolls, like 5 cue points for each side, the library browsing. So I bought that along with Akai LPD8 with 8 pads and 8 no twisting knobs. So I could use like all the functions within Serato, like, cue points, loops, samples and stuff like that, and effects, without, using the mouse and the keyboard. So that was like, I don't know, like 2010, 2011, 2012.
Right.
So I was always like, I always wanted to utilize all the software functions as much as possible. So I needed gear for that. So that's how to answer your technology questions. I was always looking for stuff that would help me utilize all that stuff that the software gives you, right?
Right. And what is the technology that you're into now? I see you're using a bunch of things. I see you're using that. I think it's a Pioneer pad that has 16 pads on it?
XP2.
XP2.
Yeah, XP2.
And so what's up with that thing? How do you use you using that with Serato? Are you using it with Tractor? Or what are you doing?
With Rekordbox. With
Rekordbox.
I was using Serato for like 3 years, and then I wanted a better sound quality, and I wanted to buy the SL3 box, but it was super expensive by that time. And like Tractor's Audio 10 box was like half of the price of Serato SL3.
Right.
And I had a bunch of friends like using Tractor, and they were really happy with it. So I was like, okay, if it's cheaper, and I like to try new things, so I just went with Tractor. So just purely because of money. So and then I started discovering all the mapping capabilities of Tractor. That weren't possible in Serato. So I started to remap the Denon MIDI controller, the Akai controller. I made all the new mappings in Traktor, that made me use a lot of cool things. So the next step was coming up with whole cue point pitch play thing. So that was when I started to get interest in 3-style.
Right.
And it was like 2014. We had 3-style in Poland in 2012, but it was invitational only, so I couldn't submit or anything. It was just invitational.
Oh.
So we were not like super interested in 3-style back then. But then I remember that Shintaro sets from Japan, from Japan finals in 2013, and then Shintaro went on into finals in Toronto and won the whole world title. Those sets were very, very popular. So we started to get interest in 3-style more. So of course we discovered 4-color Zach, like going into history to previous sets. We discovered 4-color Zach and all the magic of the tone plays. So when 3-style came back to Poland in 2015, we were all about the tone plays. Like everyone were like, we have to do tone plays, and we were like sitting on the dinner before the 3-style elimination night in Poland.
Right.
And we were like, we were like talking like, how much tone plays do you have, and how much do you have? and my friends were like, oh, I have 2. Oh, I have 3. I have just 1. And I was just sitting like saying nothing. And I was just counting like, I have like,
I have my whole set.
I have like 7. Like my whole set was just like tone play after tone play because I came up with the whole cue point pitch play thing. So I didn't have to use the sounds from that were only available in tracks. I could transpose any cue point I wanted into any melody.
Because a lot of times people were doing pitch play by taking one sound and by taking all the sounds in the song. So if the song went like but instead you sort of figured out how to make the one and then pitch shift that one like the different.
And I needed a separate controller for that. So I had on my like top when I was like on my top nerd geek personality back then, I had 4 MIDI controllers.
Oh my god.
I had the Denon one, the LPD. I had the Traktor F1 for Traktor, and the Akai and the piano for transposing the cue points. And you couldn't use so many devices on 3-style, so I had to I had to cut down the number of controllers. So I switched from all the 4 controllers to just DDJ SP1 from Pioneer and the Q Nexus from Keith Macmillan Instruments for playing melodies. So that was my first 3-style setup. And it was a huge failure because I never used the MIDI piano in club setting. And it started to get really, really weird in the club because all the vibrations and stuff. Yeah. Because on that Keith Macmillan keyboard, you had the velocity, and you could you could switch the sensitivity of each pad. Right. And I never customized that. So, and I never tried it in clubs, so I didn't know that the keyboard will react to the vibrations in clubs. Right. So when I started playing, when I was like in a half of my set, it started to like bring me into some random places because the cue point on the keyboard was activating from the vibrations. So it messed up my whole set. But yeah, that was a good lesson. That was a good lesson to like always try the routines that you have to that you want to use in battles. You always try them in clubs. Like you can get all the trouble from the gear. You will check all the trouble from the gear. You will check the reactions from the crowd and stuff like that. So that's one of my top advice I would give to people that want to battle. Like always try your routines in the club setting in front of the crowd so you can see so you can see the reaction. So yeah, that was another step for me to switch the technology and switch the gear.
Yeah.
And then I got discovered by I made a tutorial video about the cue point pitch play thing, and it got super popular because at the same time DJ Rafik from Germany, you know, the DMC champ Rafik, shout out Lucas.
He's great.
He made the same thing, basically the same time on Freestyle in Germany, and he made the tutorial video about his own gear at the same time. So both of those videos got super popular, and then I got discovered by Pioneer, and they invited me to work on the XP1 controller. So that was another switch. And here I never shouted SK83 in this story, and I'm super sorry for that. Shout out SK83 because he was the one who recommended me to the Pioneer from London, because they were looking for people. Because they were looking for people like for nerds and geeks that were good at finger drumming, because they wanted to consult the construction of the XP1 controller. So SK recommended me. So yeah, huge shout out to SK for doing it. And that's also another thing, another magic of battling. Like you get to meet all these people. You show yourself to the world. Like if it wasn't for me battling in freestyle, I would never meet SK, right? And SK would never recommend me to Pioneer guys. So that's another huge thing about battling. Like you get to network
and just putting
and
yourself
meet a lot
out
of
there.
great people.
Right.
Yeah.
Even if things don't go according to plan, like you said, even if you quote unquote failed at certain things or something didn't go right, you still have an opportunity to come back and make it better the next time. And you never know who you're going to meet and who's going to see you and be inspired by the parts that do work. And then that could lead to something else. So it's not always about being the top winner every time. I think you can still take things out of it. That's a pretty good lesson from that. So that what brings us to my current setup, which is full Pioneer, like with turntables with the S11 and the XP2, because I got invited to work on the XP1. Okay.
When they invited me to London, it was already finished device basically.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So they hid it under like a towel and they started filming my reaction to it, because I kind of felt that it's gonna be some upgrade from the SP1. Yeah. I thought they're gonna like show me the something like the SP1, but you know, the MK2 or some SP2 or something like that. Right. But I went like full on upgrade with all the additional pads and stuff like that, and I was like, whoa. Okay, now I get it. Now I get why you invited me to do that. So, yeah, I'm super grateful. Like, huge shout out to whole Pioneer crew from London, and that was an amazing experience. So we were working on the XP1, so naturally I had to switch over to Rekordbox because XP1 were for Rekordbox only. Right. So naturally I switched over from Tractor to Rekordbox then. Mm-hmm. And I also got myself the S9. So at first I didn't like the S9 because I knew that you can switch the pad modes on each side, and I was like, and you could do that on the SP1. So I was like S9 felt a no to me. Right. And I also knew that it were colliding with the SP1. Like when you switch the pad modes on the SP1, it were also switching on the S9. And vice versa. So it was like I didn't see myself making the transition, but when they showed me the XP1, that you can switch all the pad modes, like you can have one pad mode on the S9, the second pad mode on one side of the XP1, and the third pad mode on the second side of the XP1, I was like, okay, that's my thing. That's my thing right there. Right. So and the XP1 had all the things that I needed by default. Like it was plug and play, so I didn't have to map to MIDI map anything, to do any crazy like hacking or MIDI mapping stuff. So naturally I made the switch to record box because it had everything. It had everything I needed, and it had also the pitch play mode that was inspired by my tutorial on the pitch play. So they watched my tutorials and they made it a keyboard mode for the pads on the XP1 from that tutorial. So
that's so cool, man. I mean, think about, you know, just hearing your story is so incredible to hear about where you're from, where you're born, what you knew about, what you didn't know about, all the way to the point where the biggest DJ company in the world is consulting with you and flying you out to test their products and hear what you can do with it. I think that really says a lot about how much passion and work you have put into this, you know, and what anybody could do. But I mean, that's a huge testament to the amount of work that you have put in what is relatively short time in DJ years.
Yeah.
So
and that's
good job.
And that's and that would time is the third answer to your question about my use of technology, because when it comes to battling, I'm all about being original. Like, not only I try myself to be original, but when I'm judging, I also try to give more points to people that do something new, something that is different, right? So
right.
For me, when I started battling, I was like, okay, I started battling in 2015 for my first Red Bull 3 style. So I can't really compete with all the people that are battling for, I don't know, like 20 years or 25 years or more. I can't compete with them with beat juggling or scratching. Like, it's impossible, right? When you start battling in 2015, you literally you have no time to compete with beat juggling with people that are doing it for 20 years. It's like, for me, so I had to find a way to compete on some other dimension, right? So I put like hardcore scratching and hardcore beat juggling to the side and try to go my own way into, you know, all that pad use, all that tone play stuff and things like that. So I had to utilize all that technology to make myself stand out during battles from everyone that, you know, do scratching and juggling on a crazy level. But I cannot catch up. I wouldn't ever catch up to people. But
but you set yourself apart, and that's the cool thing, and that's the difference that you bring to the table. And I even saw some people like in the comments like, oh, that was great, he didn't touch the crossfader that much. And it's like, okay, like, what are you saying? Because I think that they want everyone to be doing the same exact thing. They don't understand that you're doing so many different things. It doesn't matter if you touch the crossfader or have a headphone on your ear or like what it is. Like,
it's funny that you mentioned the crossfader thing, because
yeah, it's like, that's funny that's what they mentioned after that whole set.
I was thinking about it lately, because I saw some of the comments during the live stream, and right now when A-Track started to put the videos on his channel on YouTube, like, people are some of the people, not all of them, of course, because fortunately we have more positive people in this world than haters.
Right, the internet, and especially YouTube, you're gonna get endless hater comments.
But some of the people, of course, they will comment that I didn't even touch the crossfader for the whole final sets. And I do think it was kind of a mistake what I did in the finals, but only about that not touching the crossfader. It's funny because it was like, I don't know when it was. I think it was at the beginning of pandemic when some Instagram challenges started to be popular, because people, like, they couldn't meet anywhere, so they started to do all the crazy challenges on the Instagram and stuff like that. And one of these challenges was
The no fader
about
one?
no crossfader
remember.
challenge. Like you wouldn't have to, you couldn't touch the crossfader, make a routine with it, and everyone were crazy about it. Like, you can do so much without touching the crossfader, but you never tried it. Yeah, I never tried that, so I can do so much. I didn't even know that I can do this, I can do that. I don't need a crossfader, and everyone was super excited about it, you know. But only if they made it a challenge. Like, everyone was excited about not touching the crossfader only when that was a challenge.
But then if you do it, they're like, why are you not doing that?
Yeah, but then if I'm not even speaking about myself, because that no touching the crossfader, it comes up really often in many different DJs, many different routines. Like, oh, he's not touching the crossfader that much, he's not scratching that much. Like, but he's doing different stuff, right? When you're not touching the crossfader, you're doing some different stuff, and that was awesome about the challenge, like the no crossfader challenge. So why that's not good when you do it on some other occasion? Like, I can't.
It's just people on the internet. Yeah.
I kind of can understand where they coming from, but why don't you see the other stuff? Like, I tried to do some crazy patterns without using the crossfader, but only thing that people can see is that I didn't touch the crossfader. It's so funny.
It's only one person, but I just mean it's funny how that's what they notice, is that one thing you didn't do, not all the things you did do, and how much you're changing, you know, pushing the game forward and doing stuff like that.
Yeah, but when I just remembered that I didn't really answer your question about how much time it took me to make the Goldie Awards routines.
Oh yeah, I mean, how long did it take?
It kind of connects to the topic we're talking right now. So I spent my whole time since I got invited. It was like 6 weeks. I spent all that time trying to make that Tenet routine. And then we had live stream. We had semifinal live stream on Saturday and another deadline on Wednesday for the final 2 videos. So we had 3 days to make the videos, and that's where I failed because I have terrible time management. And also the live stream for Goldies were like in the middle of the night, right here. So I didn't sleep the whole night from Sunday to Monday. Then I have to sleep during Monday, and I was working on my routines on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, and I barely had any sleep. Like, I don't know, I maybe got like 4 hours of sleep during 3 days. But I don't want to make it sound like I'm trying to make any excuses, but I had to. I forgot the word. I knew that it's a risk to spend so much time on that Tenet routine. But I wanted to do something new, so I put all my time and all my effort into trying to work out how to make it work. And then I knew I will have only 3 days to make those final videos, so I had some ideas. I had some ideas how to do it, but I didn't manage to do that, to realize those ideas. So I had to kind of like save myself from being disqualified from not making the deadline. So like, one of the ideas was, of course, making the routine with eyes closed.
I love that. It was cool. And then you had the little windows of showing your eyes and showing your fingers.
Yeah, so that was the first routine that I wanted to do as utilizing that online format, because it wouldn't really be possible to make in a live setting. Because I know DJs were doing and A-Track said that on the stream as well. Like, DJs were mostly doing the blindfolded routines. Mostly they were doing just the chase juggles. Yeah. But to be honest, it doesn't really need looking at the gear anyway. So so no disrespect to anyone who did that, because I know how hard it is anyway. Because only the simple fact that you don't see anything makes the world whole lot of different.
You have to know where everything is anyway, and be able to have the skills.
It's hard anyway. But I wanted to add all the hitting the right pads in the right order and stuff like that without looking. That was like completely different, and I don't think it would be possible in a live setting, because all the stress like all the emotions and stuff like that. Like one mistake and you're gone, right?
I know.
So, but when you do it online, you can take like infinite times. You can try that infinite times until you get it right.
Right.
Actually, it didn't take me so much as I thought it would, but it still took a lot of tries.
I'm sure.
So that was another thing of how I wanted to utilize that online format. So that was trying to record. That was, and I obviously had to add some desync parts.
Yeah.
To answer Ease dissing me in the semifinals. So I couldn't record that blindfolded routine before the semifinals. So after the semifinals, it took me like 2 days to record that that no looking routine, and then I had to come up with another video, and I also had like I had another idea to make to utilize that online format, but there was no time to realize that, so I had to kind of save myself doing another thing. So I was thinking like, how can I still like do something different?
Mm-hmm.
And I did like that drum and bass routine when I switched.
Yeah,
I completely
cool.
switched. I switched the tempo. I switched the genres. I used all the work on the pitch sliders.
Right, to change the bass frequency.
And the fader pitch on the mixer. And I was kind of thinking that's gonna make me different, but it didn't make me different from the previous set, because it was still a lot of pad work and not much scratching or juggling. So that's where my mistake was, because I was so sure I'm doing something different.
Yeah.
But to the judges, I did the same, but only I only changed the genres. I only changed the music, but I still was doing all the pad
right.
turntables. So I was just like, I was so tired and so close to the deadline. Like I just had to save myself somehow. But yeah, it might only sound like I'm making excuses, but yeah, I'm fully
I think you're good.
That
Yeah, I think you're good at analyzing what happened and going back and learning from it.
That's another thing about me. I was overthinking stuff as usual, because I do that all the time. I'm
me too. A lot of us do. Yeah.
Yeah, I was so sure I'm doing something different that it came out doing the same, but only different music. So,
well, it's good you can realize it and then bring it to the next battle or the next thing you're gonna do with it. It was still really dope too. I mean, I saw the difference between it. It was really cool. I really enjoyed it. I love drum and bass, so it was really cool.
Yeah, thank you. I think I heard that in one of the podcasts that we were saying about playing drum and bass and stuff.
Yeah, I love it. I mean, I started, that was one of the first kind of music I was playing when I first started DJing. So I love seeing it come back around now and seeing battle DJs incorporate it and be able to flip tracks into drum and bass remixes. It's cool. And the finger drumming. Oh yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I saw like of bunch of videos and streams lately. Like people are doing that transition from 130 BPM by doing the echo, not the echo, but the transformer effect, by using the transformer effect. 3x4.
Actually, I don't know. I didn't see.
You don't know that? Like when you loop when you make a really close loop, which makes it basically a constant sound. And you turn on the transformer effect, like 1x2, it will give you like semi.
Right, like almost like you're cutting it in and out, like
like cutting with the fader. And then when you switch it from 1-2 or from 1-1, when you switch it to 3x4, it gives you 175 BPM. So like I saw people doing that transition, and I saw a bunch of different people doing that transition using it to transition from house music to drum and bass.
But so you need to do the so like let's say you have an S11, you have to make sure you have the transform effect assigned to one of the things because it's not already assigned. And so you put on the transform effect, you flip up the thing, you have it on half, and then you go to 3/4.
You have that effect on every like 900, 800 mixers,
Right,
like every,
but not on
every
the
club
S11,
standard.
S9. You have to make sure you.
I think the S9. I think the
trade it.
S9 doesn't have the 3x4 transformer, but S11 has it by default. So you can just
I'm gonna try that after. That's a cool.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
You just make a really tight loop,
Right.
and then you use the transformer effect to 3x4, and when you turn it on, it cuts the sound into like 175-ish.
That's crazy.
BPM.
Wow. That's like some weird math trick. I need to try that out for sure. Do you have any other weird tricks like that you could tell us about?
Yeah, I did that. I did the same, but using the beat juggling in the first Phase DJ games this year, when A-Track had the Flip the House challenge. So I basically I flipped it literally with beat juggling into a drum and bass tempo, because I started beat juggling on the normal tempo, and then I did like triplets. And when you do like 2-3 triplets, you can go back to the tempo you were before, but you can stay on the triplets. And if you stay just doing the triplets from the house music tempo by beat juggling, you just go straight to the drum and bass tempo. So I just played the drum and bass from the sampler, still doing the triplets with the beat juggling, and then I flipped it into some drum and bass tracks. So yeah, you can watch that on the Instagram on my Phase DJ Games.
Wow, that's super dope. I need to watch that. After hearing you explain it, I need to go watch it back to try to understand and connect it all. That's so cool. That's amazing. And I mean, I saw you do videos for melodics. Is that how you got into the finger drumming thing?
That's pretty old stuff, but yeah.
Okay.
That's,
but that was how you got into it and started to get so good at it.
Yeah. Because when I first encountered melodics, I think it was some news on DJ City or something. I just had to try it, and when I first tried it, I was like, okay, that's my thing. Another just from my beginnings of DJing, another thing like the universe told me to get into that. So I was when I first tried melodics, I was using it for like a month or two. I was doing only melodics. Like I put all the turntables, scratching, all listening to new music. I put all the stuff to the side. I was just doing melodics for like a month or two.
Right.
I had to make every single lesson that I tried. I had to do like they gave you points, right? You had pointed out how many notes you got right. So I had to. I was so into it that I had to do every single lesson like 100 by 100, like every single note on point and stuff like that. And the highest level back then, because right now they have like a crazy amount of lessons, and I don't even know what's the highest level right now, but back then the highest level was lessons by Spin Scott.
Okay.
Who does
drum and bass.
Yeah. Yes,
I watch him on Twitch. He does a Twitch show that's really dope.
Yeah, shout out Spin Scott, because this is how I got into finger drumming, drum and bass, and I fell so much in love from his lessons. I got so much in love with finger drumming, drum and bass style. So that was the highest level back then in melodics, and I was super crazy about it. And so I learned all the finger drumming and drum and bass style from Spin Scott. It's amazing.
That's so cool.
And then I made a bunch of lessons for melodics, but because I was sharing a lot of myself, doing the lessons and hyping them up. So ultimately they invited me to make my own lessons. But I did some like pretty basic stuff for DJs to use in clubs, and yeah, they were in. I don't think the lessons are still available, because when I last talked with them, they kind of switched like the model of how the melodics were working, and they removed my lessons. So
okay, yeah, I haven't been on the site in a while. I haven't
me too.
Seen how they changed it.
Yeah, but I still read the emails that they sent out, and they're still like, I from time to time I plug melodics for my kids to play with pads at home. So yeah, the amount of lessons they have for finger drumming is just mind blowing.
Really?
And
I need to check it out.
Yeah, so
that's cool.
Yeah, so when people ask me about learning finger drumming, the answer is always the same: like download melodics and go with it.
How many kids do you have?
Two
Oh,
sons.
really? Two sons?
Yeah,
How old are they?
One is 3.5, and the second one is 1.5.
Oh, wow.
Oh
my God. So how do you have time to stay up and do the battles for 4 days straight?
I don't.
That's a lot. Oh my gosh. Now I know you really don't sleep at all.
Yeah, like one other thing was when we had to record the final Goldie Awards videos, like one of my kids got sick.
Oh, no.
So I had to bring my mom from my hometown, which is like I said, another city. I had to bring my mom to help us with the kids. So yeah, so to answer your question, I don't have time to take care. So I just have to thank my wife, my lovely wife, to take care of them. That she took care of them mostly, and my mom for helping out.
Right. Wow.
And yeah,
that's amazing.
So they were taking care of the kids, so I could go to the studio and work on battles.
That's cool. But that's cool. Your kids like to already do the finger drumming. Do they mess with your DJ equipment too?
No, they still do it as kids do with every toy. Like they got interesting for 5 minutes and then go on to play with another toys.
I know. Yeah, my son is 9. I try to get him into it, but he doesn't want to do it right now. So I'll let him do his own thing. And you mentioned something before. I wasn't sure if you were kidding or not, but when we talked before about like artificial intelligence and stuff like that. Do you see, do you actually like have any experience with using that in DJing or production, or see it as something that will be used, or what's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, that was supposed to be a joke, but I'm really
okay.
Like,
that's fine.
Really,
that's what I figured. It was a joke, but I didn't know if maybe there was some thoughts on it. In there.
I really like all the discussions about the AI being used in clubbing and in music.
Right.
I really like to listen to DJs discuss about it, because there are so many different opinions. There are so many different opinions about whether or not the DJs will be replaced by some robots or some artificial intelligence, because
that's true.
We already have like Spotify and YouTube algorithms that suggest music that people might like or people just like, and they're very good, right? So why not use that in clubs? And I have my own opinions about it. And I even thought about doing a vlog on it, but yeah. I'm really bad at time management, so I really want to expand my YouTube stuff.
Well, there's all kinds of stuff. I mean, I was at CES, the Consumer Electronics Show in Las Vegas 2 years ago, right before the pandemic started, like in 2020, January. And Qbert was there. I ended up going to a dinner with like every DJ. It was like Qbert and Scratch Bastard, and everybody was there. But Qbert was there, I think, with Intel, and they had this crazy artificial intelligence that could listen to him, and then it could recreate his scratches, but it would know what was happening with the fader and the pitch and everything. And it was doing it with guitar players already. So the artificial intelligence could listen to the guitar player, then it could play back, but it could show that it was playing it perfectly on the guitar. And then they were doing it with the scratching with Qbert, of all people. And so I was like, oh my God. And this was 2 years ago. So I wonder if all that will come into play, or you will almost have like virtual artificial intelligence assistants that you can throw onto like an Ableton track, like, hey, play a bass line for me, or play drums, or scratch for me, and then I'll take the part I like, or something.
Yeah, that was like I think the ultimate solution for us DJs is just mixing songs and doing stuff by nothing but our brains.
Right.
It's like, because you get so many ideas that you can't do because, like, I don't know, the limitations of your skills or limitations of the gear that you use.
Right.
But if you were just able to like control music by with nothing but our mind, that would be amazing. And I think that will eventually, I don't know when, but I think that's the ultimate solution. That one day, I don't know, like 100 years from now or 200 years from now, DJs will be just, you know, just be dancing with everyone else and just steering the music, just controlling the music with our minds. That would be amazing. That would be amazing.
Yeah, that would be amazing. And something else really cool and futuristic is Beatsource. I see your hat. You've always been a big supporter of Beatsource. I always see you wearing the gear. What's your take on Beatsource? Do you use it actively? Is there things that you like about it or that you think could be used or will improve over time? Or what are your thoughts on it?
I really hope that the search engine will improve over time, if you ask me.
Yes, it will. I know that's something they're working on, and that's something we actively talk about.
That's basically the only thing I would be critical about. But the rest of Beatsource, I love every single thing. Like I don't use it as much during gigs because you know I have my own music library, but Beatsource already saved me a lot of times, or helped me like make my club sets more interesting, because I had a couple of situations where I came up with some transition on the fly. Like I was playing some track and I was like, oh shit, that would go along great with some other track. But then I started to search for that other track and I don't have it.
Right.
So I connect my phone to the computer, and that's a good tip for everybody. If you want to use any streaming service, just plug your phone with the USB cable and make yourself an internet by the USB cable, because people often have problems with Wi-Fi where when they turn on Wi-Fi they have like dropout issues and stuff like that. Those issues are not existing when you plug your phone with the USB cable and you make the internet connection because all the Wi-Fi goes to the phone and not your computer, and the internet goes to your computer via USB cable, so you don't get any dropouts and stuff like that. So that's the tip from me. So anyway, so I had a couple of situations where I came up with some transition on the fly and I didn't have the other track I wanted to use. Yeah. But I found it on Beatsource and I could make that right there. So amazing. So that's one great thing. And the other thing, it's of course some of the requests that I would like to play. Like people come to me and they ask about some songs that I don't have. It's a great, like, just to connect, search them and play it for them. Like I had a situation in club where I played for the first time. It was in the middle of the summer and it was like the hottest weekend of all the summer in Poland right here, and we had no COVID restrictions, so like everything was opened during summer. So all the people went to the beaches, to the rivers, like to the lakes and stuff like that, and nobody came to any club. Like all the clubs were empty.
Oh my god!
And I was playing in one of the clubs for the first time, and it was like a month or 2 weeks after this club opened, so barely anyone even knew about it. So there were like two VIPs rented by some people that just knew the owners. And they came to the party. So what can I do? Like, I don't know them. They don't know me. So what can I do? I will play every single song that they will ask for, right? So they were just coming up to me, play this, play that, play this. And I didn't have like half of the songs they were asking. So I just connected to Beatsource and Beatsource just saved me back then. And I got great opinion. Because they knew the owners. And they were like, "Oh my God, you're such a great DJ! You have all the songs, and you are not refusing to play them. Like, we will tell the owner that you're a great DJ." Like, that was super cool. So that was all thanks to Beatsource.
Nice.
But then the other story from that club is that I came back, and the owner was on that second night, and he didn't like my DJing, so that was weird.
That's called the life of a DJ. No, you can't please everyone.
Yeah, so the friends of the owners like my DJing, but the owners didn't like my DJing. So that was only 2 parties I played there. So
you can't please everyone. What can you do? But it's
there's
cool.
one more
Yeah,
thing.
yeah.
There's one more thing. I didn't even hear people speaking about it that much regarding Beatsource. Is that you can really impress people that request songs that are really not known, but they're from their countries. If you have like a really mixed cultural mixed people in a club, and I'll tell you from my own example, we have a lot of students that study medicine in our city. Right. They come mostly from Sweden and from Norway, and also from the Netherlands. And they come to my club where I held residency, where I have a residency. They come there pretty often. But what they did, they rented the club to make the like the integration party for the beginning of the university of the study on the university. So they were only them in the club, like. Only people from Sweden, from Norway, and like the Polish people were like the minority there. So and they and those people just were asking from really specific like songs from Sweden, songs from Norway or from Netherlands, and I wouldn't ever have that music in my library, like never, because I don't know the languages, I don't know the artists, you know.
Yeah, of course.
But I could find those songs on Beatsource, so and they were really impressed. Like, you know, them. I was like, I don't know the songs, I don't have them, but I will search for them if I can find them. Then I can play them.
Or if you need to do like an Afrobeat set or a Colombian music, or you know, they have everything, dembo, specific genres.
I had a bunch of people from the Netherlands on one of my parties, and I have some songs in my own library from Netherlands. And then I played it, and I saw that a bunch of people is going like crazy, like hands in the air, singing that, and I was like, okay, they must be from the Netherlands. So I played another song I have from the Netherlands, and they went even more crazy. And then after the third song I played from the Netherlands, they started coming up to the DJ booth, and they were like, "Are you from the Netherlands?" I was like, "No, I'm from here. I'm from Poland." "Oh, you know all these all the songs from Netherlands?" Like, so that can be really impressive to people. Like, you can find some really specific songs from their countries on Beatsource. You can even find Polish songs on Beatsource. So if you ever have like some Polish people coming up to your parties asking for really weird things, just ask them to write down the titles, because there's no way you can understand the artist names or the titles of the song. Just ask them to write that down, and there's really good possibility that you will find it on Beatsource.
That's cool. That is a good point. Yeah, that a lot of people don't talk about. That's so interesting. It's cool to hear how different people use it in different parts of the world too, and what helps them and not. So that's incredible. I asked the internet if anybody had any questions for you, and got a few things if you want to answer it.
Sure.
I got, let's see, DJ Caitlin. Thank you for writing in. She said,
shout out Caitlin. Shout out Caitlin.
Caitlin says she's so happy that you are on as a guest. You are one of her biggest influences, so that's cool to hear. And she wanted to know if you like online or in-person battles better.
Right now, after the Goldies, I'm not sure, because I really loved I really loved freestyle, because you know you battle in front of the public, and you have to do routines that public understands, like people have fun and dance too, right?
Yeah.
And all the networking, meeting people during battles, all that stuff is great about battles life.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, like doing all that stuff that is possible in when you have like infinite takes on your routine and you can record it like so many times until you get it right. That's what's great about the online battling, like for the Face DJ games and for the Goldies right now. That was great for the online, so you can discover new dimensions, new levels for the online if they allow you to do everything like on the Goldies. That's amazing. So and that's where you can do the stuff that's never been done. So I'm all about doing stuff that's never been done. So
yes,
if it has to be done online and it has to be done with video editing or editing the music and stuff like that, like I don't mind. Just do something that I never seen before, and so that's what's great about the online battles. So both are great.
Right.
Both are great.
Right. There's pros and cons to both, and I think you're very strong in both of them. So that's so interesting. All right, let's see what else. Ziglar X wrote, "Oh, what is your DJ software preference and why?" We basically already talked about that, right? Rekordbox. You kind of explained the whole evolution of it.
Yeah. I started with Serato, then moved on to Tractor and loved all the MIDI mapping capabilities, and then I moved to Rekordbox, and I started with Rekordbox because I have everything I need, basically like plug and play, and I don't have to do any crazy MIDI mappings. And I love the library, how the library works in Rekordbox with all the tag capabilities and intelligent playlists. So for now, I did use Serato for some of the battles, like the Beatsource All Stars battle. I used Serato because that was the requirement. But I also used Serato for some of the routines with the S11 because Serato has some exclusive features for the S11. But mostly I use Rekordbox, and sometimes I use Serato to use the exclusive features for the S11.
Okay, you're like the ultimate teacher because you've experienced every single software and thing to use.
Kind of.
Let's see what else. Someone else asked. Sorry, my font is so small I can't read your name. I think it says Otter Method, but they said more about his tenant routine, please, which I think we got really into it. So hopefully if you heard that part of the podcast, because we explained it a lot. And then Anton Fassler just said,
if I can just say...
please. If you've got more to say, please, yeah.
Yeah, just one more thing about the tenant routine. I almost scrapped it completely from the set.
Oh, wow. I'm glad you didn't. I think it was... That made a big impact on everybody.
I spent, like I said, we had the deadline on Wednesday, and I spent all Saturday before it, like trying to finally make the tenant routine work.
Yeah.
And I was so done with it. I was working on it for over a month, and it didn't work, and it kept just failing because the stuff I tried was too difficult to do technically, and it was just not effective to listen and to watch. Because I tried all that pad tablism is how I call it. I tried that, but it came out that it sounds very similar both ways. If you listen to it backwards and if you listen to it forward, it sounded basically the same. Just the drum patterns were reversed, so it was really hard to do, but really not effective to listen to or to watch. And I almost scrapped it. And I had the worst headache of my life that day. So I was I was just like, okay, I have to do with the secondary option. Like I wanted to do like a multiple tone plays with melodies from all around the world that from the countries that didn't make the list.
Right.
I wanted to do like the combo of the characteristic melodies from Russia, from Africa, from Italy, and so many different countries. That was the secondary option. But then I like reset my head doing the craziest Face DJ games on Sunday, and then I went back to that. I went back to that tenant routine one last time on Sunday, and found out that Flume is from Australia. Because I didn't know that, and I was like, okay, what if I can just chop the You and Me remix and try it backwards? Okay, I thought that to make it like way easier technically, And it came out, if I like lowered the technicality of that idea, it like skyrocketed the effectiveness of how you listen to it and how you watch it. Like, I really like the technicality went from here to here, but the effectiveness just skyrocketed.
Right.
So
that's so cool.
I almost scrapped it, but then gave it like one last try, and it was just like,
I'm glad you didn't.
Wow.
And that's such a cool beat and song, that Flume song. Like, I love it, and I've never heard any DJ do anything with it. You know, it's just kind of it's even hard to play at a club, you know, so it was cool to see you use it in that respect. All right, thanks for that info. Let's see, we got one more. Anton Fassler just said, how the hell can a DJ be so innovative and productive? So just kind of giving you props.
Shout out to Anton, because you might not know, Anton is one of the fathers of the superhero DJs.
Oh, Anton, I did not know that.
Yes, sir. Anton is not a DJ himself, but he's the brain. He's the brain.
Got it.
Works with he works with Prosaico from the beginning of time. And they work together, so they know each other very well, and they are the two fathers of the superhero DJs. So
crazy.
Shout out Anton.
Shout out Anton. Good job. Thank you guys. You know, thank him. Thank you for bringing, you know, all this amazing knowledge to everybody around the world, and really sharing the knowledge and pushing the game farther and spreading it. You know what I mean? Without people like you, without people like him, you know, it could stay stagnant, you know, and people get used to the same thing. And I think education and sharing and pushing the boundaries is super important, and not being afraid to put yourself out there. I think a lot of DJs just want to fit in, you know, and they want Craze to like them, so they'll do the same thing as him or something, you know. But I think you really do different things, and it's risky and it's scary, and sometimes it doesn't work, but it's important, you know. And I think another important thing is that you get back up after you fall down. Like, you're like, well, this didn't work, I'm back now. You know, you're like a boxer who like can't get knocked out. And I think that's really important, because there's people that will get stifled, that will have one bad thing happen, and then their confidence goes away and they can't come back from it, in a way, you know, or they're scared to go back out there.
My confidence always like goes away. Like, I was like,
Yes.
right after every single time when I lost on, like, I don't know, like on freestyle or right now in Goldie's, like, my confidence was like lowest of the low. But just a few days, you know, get back to normal life, and I'm all motivated again. So it's just a matter of time, and get your brain to reset.
Yeah, exactly. That's great. I honestly, I think that's just as important as the technical tips, if not, you know, more, because your mind is really, you're battling yourself most of the time, you know, so you have to be able to, you know, win against yourself, really, and push yourself through those barriers. I actually got one more question. I just checked my Instagram to see, and I think it's a joke, but I'll say it anyway. DJ Sal Flip, I actually saw Mighty Moves also ask the same question on Twitter, in a different way. He said, have you ever considered doing one more beat and making it an even 70 beats? Not 69 beats. What is the 69 beats? I think they're just saying.
I always get people always say that one of my sons should be like 70 beats and 71 beats. That should be the nicknames of my sons.
That's so funny. That's hilarious. Yeah, so I saw Mighty Move say something similar, you know, about the 70 beats, but I like it. I like how you have your signature. Oh, can I do it? I like how you have your signature move. I like how you.
Oh yeah, you did it right. Congratulations, you did it right.
Come on,
like, because mostly people do. Yes, sir. Like, right thumb up and left thumb down, because mostly people like showed 69 to themselves. And so then you show the 96 to all the other people, and I was like,
96, baby.
You show it to me or to yourself, and they're like,
I think I actually will admit, I think I
Right
got
thumb
lucky.
up,
I think
left
I
thumb
got
down.
lucky. But yeah, I mean, it's you know, I like and the samples use like 69 like when you have it in your set.
Yeah,
It's pretty funny.
there's a lot. There's a lot 69 samples out there.
Yeah, a lot of stuff you can use.
Yeah, and he's found the most entertaining ones.
Which one did he use? I gotta go back and watch his.
I think
his diss part.
he used some quotes from, I don't know, from like a street interviews where somebody asked people to talk about what they think about the 69 and stuff like that. I think it was something like that.
Oh my god! I think I might know what you're talking about. It was like some show on HBO where they interview couples or something and they ask them about it. Or,
yeah.
Oh my god, that's pretty.
But then
funny.
again,
Yeah.
what the hell are you watching on the internet that you know such quotes?
Ease is all over the place, man. He's another person that is in every single battle all the time.
Yeah, he was like, the battles are one thing. He's been all over the world. Like,
It's
even in my
crazy.
city, he played in my city, and when my friends saw that I'm battling him in the finals, they were like, "What the hell? He like just like 10 years ago or 9 years ago, he was in the club in my city. That club didn't even exist anymore, but
Wow.
he was playing right here."
That's
And it's
crazy.
like crazy. He's just been everywhere, man.
I know.
Everywhere.
I know. Yeah, he's a great DJ.
I met Ease for the first time in person on freestyle finals in Chile, and he was not even competing there because Trace was representing United States. So Ease was just there with Lazy Boy. Yeah, and that's where I met Lazy Boy for the first time. That they were just there. So I don't know.
Crazy.
I don't know. Maybe they're just somehow. Found out the skill of how do you say that, multi-location.
Yeah,
Like you just
he's teleporting all over.
Yeah, you just copy yourself into many different places, and you're all over the world.
That's
at the same time.
like the Matrix you were talking about. So
yeah.
Oh, that's crazy. Well, before we get out of here, do you have any other things you want to discuss or talk about? Or if not, do you have any advice or things you want to promote for other DJs listening out there?
I would like to ask you a question.
Yeah, please ask me whatever you want.
Well, if I ever come to US, what do I do to play some gigs right there?
Well, I mean, as you know, a lot of people talk about the United States, I feel like, as if it's one big thing, but it's so huge that it's so separate. So, like, even, for example, like New Year's Eve, I was trying to figure out where I'm going to DJ, and someone offered me a gig, and it was in Fort Lauderdale. And even like Fort Lauderdale is like a 1 hour drive to Miami, but it's a completely different place. Or like in California, people like to say, oh, California, like San Francisco is so different from Los Angeles, and Los Angeles is so different from San Diego. And even like this place I go DJ in Riverside, like an hour drive from my house, is completely different than Los Angeles. So it's almost like it depends what you want to do. I think it's important to have a focus on what you want to do rather than just like, I'll do anything. Like if you want to play, you know, like a bottle service nightclubs, or if you want to perform your scratch show at like a ticketed event, or if you want to, you know, play in Las Vegas, and even in Las Vegas, there's different styles of clubs, you know? So I think it's just a matter of knowing what you want to do, knowing the right people, and then putting the word out there before you come. So like if you are planning a trip and you tell me, okay, I'm going to be in Los Angeles around this time, then I can try to help you out, and then I can talk to people, and all of the people you've met through the battles, I think just reach out to them and say, yo, DJ Ease, like I'll be in here this time. You need anybody to fill in for Young Ma, you know, as the DJ, or, you know, whatever it is. Like we'll be in New York, we'll be in I'm going to try to go to these cities. And then you just sort of build it together, because that's the same way we get gigs out here, is just networking with each other. And, you know, just to fly from Los Angeles to New York or to Florida is 5 hours, 6 hours. So it's so far. So yeah, I think just being focused on what you would love to play and what would be your best experience, you know, what types of gigs, if you've seen things online, if you're like, your dream is to play the do-over or certain types of parties or something, and then just put your focus on that and trying to tell people like me or whoever that could have connections and could help you out, and then put together a little tour. Have you ever played out here?
No, I've never been to US.
You've never been to the US?
Like, yeah. Like, I need to get like some special kind of visa to get to US.
Okay.
I remember like even a few years ago when I met Latin Prince, shout out Latin Prince, like we met in Chile for Freestyle. He was really surprised that I need a visa to get to US, because he was asking me the same thing, and it didn't change for like, how long it's been, like 5 years.
Right.
Like you survived Trump, and now you have new president, like, and
and then we get COVID.
That was around the time that Trump was elected, so I remember that was a hot topic in Chile on Freestyle.
True.
So Trump promised us to get rid of the visas for Polish people, and they didn't. I remember what Obama said the same. Obama wanted to get rid of the visas, but they didn't back then, and they're still not doing it. So we still need visas.
Well, I think that the COVID thing probably really messed everything up, you know.
Yeah. So getting a tourist visa is one thing, and then getting a visa that I could use to, you know, play gigs and get money for it, it's completely another level visa. So yeah, and a different level of money, different level of administration stuff to get done. So it's pretty crazy. It's pretty crazy to get there.
I wonder, could you hopefully nobody's listening to this from the government, but could you get the tourist visa, just come out and do some small gigs like at little places and get to know people and then plan a tour and come back?
I'm not sure, because I know the story. I know one story, and it's not even from Polish people. It's from, I won't tell who, but it's a pretty known DJ. From what I heard, from Canada, I think he was from Canada. Mm-hmm. He went to play some completely gig out of any money, like some charity gig in New York or something like that, and he got banned from entering US for 7 years.
Oh my
because
God.
Nobody,
you don't want to risk
it. Nobody would believe that he's done it without any payment or some for free or something like that. That was a charity gig.
That's crazy.
And from what I know, he got like 7-year ban from entering the United States.
No, you're right. I mean, because I hear it's the same, but US and Canada is weird. Like anytime I want to go to Canada and DJ, they would make me pay. I would have to get a visa. I would have to pay. I would have to sit there for hours and hours in the customs. They would also like ask me like so many questions, like, why are you here? Why can't we have a Canadian DJ? I'm like, I don't know. They're just bringing me here. But so I can only imagine, coming from Europe, there's a lot. And I've been reading, even last night, there's this DJ producer, Fred, again, and he played in Los Angeles last night, and I saw his Instagram. He's like, we couldn't get a visa until this morning. We thought we were going to cancel the whole tour. So I wonder, I don't know about that side of things, but yeah, I wonder what that's like. I mean, but it's, I wish that maybe like a Red Bull or one of the companies that you've worked with could somehow help you and figure out how to bring you out and set up a tour or do something. We need to work this out, or with Beatsource and DJ City.
I think it's possible. I think it's possible when someone from my country, some company, would pay me for everything, and then I go to US to play, and no company and no person from United States is paying me.
Yeah.
So I could maybe do that, but then I would have to get paid by the company from my country, like something like it's.
That's crazy. It's so crazy. Like you're DJing. You're on YouTube on the Goldies with all the US people, but you can't come here. That's just not fair. That's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, we
wonder
need
if I ever got to Goldies previously that went into live setting in New York.
Right.
I wonder how would it be with the visa stuff.
I wonder too.
That's
that's actually a good idea, because if they do it in person next year, and maybe since you did so well, maybe they'll bring you back just to be a part of it and DJ, and that could be like sort of your first plan, and then you'll be in New York, and then you can plan your trip from there to go, you know, around. But well, if you do get the visa figured out or something happens, please let me know, because I would love to help you get gigs or anything I could do to help. Because I think, you know, yeah, I want you to be able to come here and perform and build with the other DJs and all be here in person. So that's something we need to make that happen. Anybody listening that knows more can make that happen. Please write us in, you know, send us a message. Amazing. You have any other questions?
Do I have any other questions? I don't know.
It's the opposite podcast now.
Should I change? Should I consider changing my DJ name if I ever come to US?
Oh man, why? Because 69 means a different thing here.
Because there's only one king of New York, and I don't know if I'm allowed in New York. I don't know. If you know what I'm talking about.
Right.
if you know what I mean, how they say in the Bay, if you know what I mean.
You know what I mean? I think you have established yourself with your DJ name at this point. I don't think you can change it. Like, everybody knows you from your name. I mean, you could change it if you want, but I think it's pretty good, and people know you as that, you know. And yeah, I think it's good. I would leave it.
Thank you.
Yes. Yeah, you have a good following on YouTube. You're not on Twitter though, right?
No, the Twitter is not as popular in Poland when it comes to like music and DJing and stuff.
Are you on TikTok?
It is popular within like journalists, politicians, and stuff like that. But I don't even know if any of my friends, of my DJ friends, if anyone has Twitter. I don't even know.
Oh, I mean, because they're posting your videos on Twitter, you know, like, and people are talking about it, but there's no way to tag you because you're not on there. You might want to. Like, I was trying to find you on there. Like, there's a Goldie video, and like you're the beginning of it, and it's like them saying all this stuff about you, and it's pretty cool. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff. And also there's a lot of videos that like Beatsource and DJ City and different things have posted of you on Twitter, because I was trying to find you. Like, even on, let me see. Yeah, like I was looking through, so I couldn't find you on there. Because look, it's like always so fun to watch, and there's a bunch of people liking it, and there's you right there. Can't see it, but
okay.
And they post your YouTube videos, and if you posted your routines on Twitter, you might get some good traction. Are you on TikTok?
No.
I think you would get a lot of people. I think you should post your stuff on TikTok too. You would get a lot.
TikTok only like 15 seconds. Can you post like longer?
No, you can do 3 minutes.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't know.
You can do so much. You can do live streaming. You can do everything. Like, it's crazy. And like DJs,
when it comes to technology in DJing world, I'm all about it, and I'm super forward with it. But when it comes to like social media and all the stuff that you have to do like marketing wise,
yeah,
I'm super behind. I'm still trying to figure out how the thumbnails work on Instagram, and I still get it wrong.
I know.
So like I only just posted my first reel on Instagram like 2 days ago.
I saw. You should do them. You should put them on TikTok, even if you just upload the reel to TikTok just to start. But I thought about Well, I'm just saying the educational videos would do really well, because people love the educational videos on TikTok. So it's just something to think about.
Oh, really?
I think you should, the more places you put your stuff, the better, because you don't know who's going to see it. And there could be someone that does want to bring you to the US that's watching on TikTok or that sees you on Twitter, you know, so it could be helpful just to spread it around. You never know. Because a lot of people I know only use Twitter or only use TikTok or only do Instagram, you know, so you don't know who's going to see you that won't see you on the other one. So I would try, just experiment, put your stuff on TikTok, put your stuff on Twitter.
Yeah, I wanted to try that Thriller app. After they announced the $1 million battle.
Right. Dynamics is battling tonight, I think.
Oh, really?
I think so, really? Yeah. Yeah, I want to see.
Snap. I have to watch it. But yeah, I was like, at first, when they didn't like continue that battle marketing and stuff, like we all submitted the videos and there was just like huge silence.
I know.
No informations, no news, no nothing. And I was like, okay, this platform, this app look really interesting. Maybe I could get some new followers. But if they don't follow up with that battle, right, I'm not doing that any longer, because that looked to me that looked only like a thing to like bring a bunch of DJs to join the app and make those DJs bring more people to vote for them and to like their videos and stuff.
Agree.
But then we not follow up with the battle but we got like a tons of new people just to use the app.
It's weird.
Like,
I agree.
From my perspective, it looked like that. Like all due respect to everyone.
It's
who
weird,
runs the
and
app
now they're doing the battles every week or something. It's weird.
Yeah,
I don't understand.
But they finally followed up with the battle. So yeah, maybe I will post some more videos.
On I think you should. Like, there's different people on there, and the reaction to a lot of the DJ stuff on TikTok is crazy. People love the technical, but they love the educational ones too. So. You never know. You never know who could see it. And
I know about TikTok, of course, but I was discouraged to use it because in Poland, like, it's used mostly by kids. You know, it's like none of the people of my age. Oh my God, that sounds like I'm old. Of my age, like my colleagues, like I don't know, plus minus. I know 10
what you're
years.
saying. Yes, you're right.
Nobody's using TikTok, like only just like teenagers and but
I think right. But I think when Twitter first came out and when Facebook first came out and when Instagram came out, same. Yeah. Everybody go, oh, it's just kids, all the kids on Instagram, and now it's like old people and brands. So the kids are always going to be first, but yeah, I mean, just if I can help you, let me know.
It's such a great platform for DJs in the United States. That might work.
I'll send you some videos.
YouTube, on Facebook and on YouTube, most of my subscribers are from United States. So
I know.
Go along.
So yeah, I'll show you some TikTok videos that maybe will interest you, and then maybe that'll inspire you to make some yourself.
Yeah, I just saw Mark Kotz posting about his transition from some battle, getting 1 million views on TikTok.
Really?
That was crazy. Yeah. Shout out Mark Kotz.
No, SK83's been doing good on there.
On TikTok?
Yeah, he has like a lot. He has like more followers on TikTok than any other platform, I think.
Oh, wow.
And he has like millions of likes and stuff. Oh, whoa. See,
wow,
I'm
nice.
I'm bringing it up here.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'll show you after, after we get off, I'll show you. But yeah, SK has 208,000 followers, 1.2 million likes, and he does a lot of the kind of stuff that you do, you know what I mean? Like with just crazy battles and things like that. So it could be something to try. And I know I hung out with SK in Texas one time, so he got out here. Amazing. Well, yeah, let me help you, whatever I can do, help you with gigs or the technology on the social media. And I mean, it was so nice talking to you and learning about everything.
I feel like if I ever go to US, I have to learn so much.
That's okay. We're all here to help you. The DJ community supports you and is here to help you. So you have friends.
We are always behind. Like we are in Poland. Like all the stuff is always behind because
I know.
We are like in the center of Europe, but all the companies, everyone is treating us like some some old country that doesn't require any attention or anything like that.
That's crazy.
Like you just go a couple 100 kilometers into Germany, and they're like on a whole different level with all the social media levels and all that stuff. Like all the companies, like I don't know, like Facebook, Twitter, TikToks, everyone is treating like the Western Europe, Western from Poland.
Yes.
West from Poland, they're treating way different than us. Like
that's so interesting. I wonder why.
Everyone west from Poland gets all the features first. Like the reels on Instagram. Wasn't available in Poland, but they were available in Germany, because I saw SK doing reels on Instagram and they wasn't available in Poland. The same was with shorts on YouTube. I started to look at some channels doing like 1 minute videos on YouTube, and I was like, why is everyone doing 1 minute videos on YouTube?
I know.
Like YouTube was supposed to do like long videos and stuff like that, and now everybody's doing like 1 minute videos. And then I get the news that shorts, that like social media journalists in Poland writing about shorts on YouTube, but they are only available in US, then in like Western Europe, and they will be only available in Poland. We don't know when. And then just like we were like I don't know, like a couple of months, and then suddenly the shorts are available in Poland. So
interesting.
It's like we are really not treated. I hate that word, but we are not really treated equally. Should I use that word? Equality in that context?
No, that makes perfect sense. I understand what you're saying. And honestly, it should be something for people listening to realize, not take for granted that where they live and how they have access to things first, because it's hard. Where you're from, if you don't have access to the same things as everybody else, but you're trying to compete on the same level.
It's about competing. It also translates to even to DJ battles. Like it's one thing when you start DJing so late as I did. Comparing to people that has done it for so many years longer. Like I saw some comments on Ize's videos from Goldie Awards. Like people were commenting like, oh, he dropped this, oh, he dropped that was such a G move, or something like that. He dropped the time at the end, that was such a G move. Like I don't even know why. That was a G move, why that was so amazing. Like Mixmaster Mike was judging, and he was like, I loved how he dropped this, I loved how he dropped that. There is no way for me to learn why the song selection was so amazing. Like I of course I liked it. I like all the songs. I love the funk songs, the hip hop songs he selected, and all of that stuff. But I there's no way for me to learn why was that so special to the judges or to the people that were watching it. I don't know why dropping the time at the end of the set was a G move. There's no way for me to understand that. If you know what I mean. Like
I totally know what you mean.
If there's any book that I can read and learn why that was a G move and learn all that stuff, why the song selection was so amazing, tell me the title. I want to read that book. But I know I have all the internet, but where do I go? To what websites do I go to learn all that, that little details that all the DJs from I don't know, from states that grew up in all that community, you just know that because you grew up with this. Learning all that stuff, learning all that songs, that music and stuff like that. You all were basically born with it, and I have to learn about it. For just
you're right. That's crazy. No, it's the culture, like you said. It's being around it, and it's just understanding the connections of music. But you growing up in Poland, where you're saying that certain music wasn't even there and you weren't even around things, and it's so different. There's no way, like you said, to learn it, except probably there are, I guess, like I haven't even thought about it like that, but books that would be cool to read to understand the background of cultures, and documentaries and different things, so you could see
there
where...
are books, there are books, there are videos. Of course, there are books, there are videos, there's documentaries, and there's so many. Like, but there will always be that side of this, that you have to learn by being born in the right place at the right time, and just grow up with something. It's like with the language, right? I hear a lot that my English is very good. Yes. And I know it's really good, but it's never gonna be as good as a person that was born in English speaking country, right?
Right. I understand. I mean, well, you're better than some people, but that we're born here.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're a lot better. But I know what you mean. It's an interesting point, and it's an interesting point in the DJ world where we're all doing the same thing and we all have the same goals and understanding, but really we don't. We've got a different perspective and a different culture and a different understanding, and it's been cool to see, because it was a lot of the time just people imitating either American things or England things, but now people are bringing more of their own cultures into it and being more of themselves, which I think is cool. But yeah, that's a crazy thing. I feel like we could talk about it forever. It's like, yeah, and it would be cool to have running lists of books and documentaries and things that people could watch to learn more, especially as DJing grows.
But then again, I would have to like use all my time I have to read all that books, to watch all the documentaries, instead of sitting in my studio and working on another Tenet routine. Like I'd much rather stay and search for another never been done stuff than, you know.
I agree. And to me, that's why you are 69 Beats and you are one of a kind and you're like nobody else, because that's what you bring. Well, I'm serious. That's what you bring to the table, is your own self. And the people that are trying to read and watch and then copy it, it's not going to be authentic. So you're better off just it's good to know the history and the culture, but it's also good to be yourself. I think at the end of the day, the more you're genuinely yourself and you're doing exactly what you love and want and presenting that to the world, that's all that matters. And it doesn't matter if you know why it was a G move to drop the song. I didn't see that. I gotta rewatch it, so I don't know what you're talking about. But
that's some comment from I think from YouTube over on A-Track's channel.
Okay, got it.
Yeah, it was like, oh, he dropped the time at the end. That was such a G move. Like, tell me why. I want to understand. Like, I want. Well, to
also, you can't trust every comment on the internet. Everybody has their own opinion, and you don't know who they are. You know.
Also, I don't wanna sound like I'm making excuses of why I lost the
bottle.
battle.
No, I don't think you're making excuses.
Because somebody could say that, oh, I'm complaining that I lost the battle because I wasn't born in the US.
No, I mean, we're just analyzing it. I think it's very interesting to hear. Yeah.
I know exactly why I lost, and it was not because I was not born in the US.
Yeah, no, all good, all good. That's crazy. Well, I mean, it was such a pleasure getting to know you better and getting a better understanding of your workflow and your brain, really getting to see inside of how you think. It's very interesting. And I feel like, you know, in a way you've done a lot, but it's just the beginning for you. You've got a lot. I know you will come to the US and DJ, and I know you will do amazing things more and more. And I'm excited to see it. I'm excited to follow along your journey. And if you jump on the other social media, I'll follow you on there too.
Okay. After that talk, there's a high chance I will.
Yes. Yeah, I think you should. I mean, if you need help, call me, hit me, text me, whatever. I'll help you do it. And from what I know, I'm not like an expert, but I at least try. I've used all of them and I try them out. So I'll help you out. And thank you. Thanks for coming on the podcast. Thanks for supporting Beatsource. And thank you for all you do for the thank you for all you do for the DJ culture. Honestly, it's amazing.
And thank you for giving us a platform to
Yeah.
To meet with the world.
Yes, exactly. A lot of people are going to hear you on here. So we're just letting everybody know about 69 Beats. So, yeah, thank you. You got any other final words for the DJs out there?
Shout out to every single person that got through all that podcast up until the end.
Yes.
Huge love to Beatsource family and to you, Spider, of course, for having me. Huge thanks. I loved it, and if you ever want to have me again, I will love to do it again.
Yes.
So yeah, huge thanks
We'll do it.
for having me.
We'll have you again, and hopefully we'll have you again in person when you come to Los Angeles, when you get booked here. It will happen.
I would love to, yeah.
I feel it. It's going to happen. All right. Thank you so much. See you soon. Peace.
Thank you. Peace.
All right. Thank you, 69 Beats, for calling in all the way from Poland. That was incredible being able to talk to you and get some insight into your brain and your process on how you do this stuff. And I hope some U.S. promoters bring you out to America and we get to see you rock live out here soon. The 20 podcast is produced by Beatsource. Join us next week for more interviews as we discuss music that matters to DJs. I'm DJ Spider signing off. Peace.